hand over to Mr. J.C. Voters to do the formal introductions, and then from there we will start with the program. Thank you.
He's currently just late in traffic. He'll be here shortly.
Yeah.
They're just changing the schedule for, so he'll be here.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, welcome to the community of Sharon Lee in Olivedale Retirement Village. Thank you for coming out today. And also thank you to the Gautrain representatives. Excuse my poor pronunciation of the names, but Tsepo Kobe, Victor Shange, and Tlacho Ramalepa, as well as the Gautrain team assisting with the meeting this evening. As well, and coordinating the venue and coming out today to have a conversation with us. The agenda for today's meeting, obviously, Tlacho has indicated that there will be a slight change, but Tsepo will be here. The agenda is the opening and welcome, stakeholder engagement phases, route determination, previous insights on the Gautrain, a Q&A session, and then contact details for further inquiries, and finally the closure. Gautrain has noted and received the objections of the Sharon Lee community, as well as the Olivedale Retirement Village, and we're here today to allow Gautrain or give Gautrain the opportunity to address those issues and concerns. I just would like to remind everyone that the business of today's meeting impact on Sharon Lee, so if we can try to keep our points of discussion in that frame. Gautrain have also stated that they will be working with the community of Sharon Lee and they will not harm us, so we need to today find out how they plan on achieving that. We've asked some questions, we posed some questions to Gautrain ahead of this meeting, which should encompass a lot of the questions that the community have. The most obvious is, how is the rail going to come through Sharon Lee? Is it going to be on tunnel or underground in a tunnel, bypassing, making use of existing road infrastructures or road reserves? Or alternatively, is it going to be on grade and through viaduct in our homes and yards? The biggest issue, one of the biggest complaints or points that we've received so far, a lot of residents are doing projects at home, be it renovations, solar, boreholes and so forth. How does that investment that they're putting in, is it running at a risk? Is there going to be any loss of that investment? We also have the seller-buyer issue where sellers are meeting hesitancy from buyers in terms of the properties. And that's all due to a lack of, or mostly due to a fear of uncertainty. So we need to get these answers and hopefully we can have them today. So with that being said, I'll hand over to Victor. Thank you.
Thank you, JC. Good evening to all. If I may just beg your pardon on two issues, please. One is my late arrival. When I left Midrand, the GPS said I'd be at 5:15, and then ESCOM happened along the way. And then please excuse my voice, I'm recovering from the flu. JC has mentioned, I know on the agenda it specifically says route determination, but my intent today is to actually take you through the whole process. Route determination is one part of it. And as I articulate and go through the process, some of the questions will be answered that we've already received. And of course, there's a Q&A session later on the program. And just to touch on also the point JC raised about the submissions we've received. Yes, it's taken a little bit longer than we'd like to respond to all of them, but I assure you every single one of them will be responded to. Although all of them have the same letter attached, some of them have further or introduced, let's say, additional topics, and want to make sure that we cover all the topics raised as we respond. So those responses, some of you have received, the rest, yes, they are coming. So, as I said, I think the focus of today is the process. But I'll just do maybe a 2-minute introduction of the project, and then get into the business of the day, as the saying goes. So what is the GRRIN Extensions project? So the GRRIN Extensions project is a project that is developed on two work streams. The first work stream is the actual project. So when people talk, some people call it Gautrain 2, some people call it expansions. It's the Gauteng Rapid Rail Integrated Network Extensions. They are undertaken in terms of the Public Finance Management Act. So where the project is in terms of these steps is the feasibility study was completed, and because the PFMA is an act of National Treasury, that project is waiting the necessary approvals, or rather is in the cycle or process of necessary approvals with National Treasury, which would then enable procurement, development, operations. This was a copy-paste error, my apologies. But the reason why we're here today is this part here, the process of securing the land or the rail reserve, okay? That is legislated by an act called the Gauteng Transport Infrastructure Act. And the reason why I'm departing from here is that as I go through and I'd say GTIA, it's in reference to this act. And the reason why, so we've started or begun the process of defining the rail reserve is as the top part develops, when you procure, at the time that you have an operator, the operator must know where they must do the detailed design for the railway. And that's why those two work streams are done in parallel. The last thing you want to do is go to the market, have an operator for your rail system, and then there's no reserve, for them to provide the infrastructure. So that's just the background and the context of the process that we are undertaking. And just quickly, in terms of what the extent of the proposed extensions looks like. So in the red is a link between Hatfield and Park Station in Johannesburg. In the gold is the current connection from Sandton Station to the airport, what we call the airport line. And then in the blue, the solid blue, is what we call the east-west service, which connects from Sandton to Rosefield Station. So that is the current Gautrain system as it exists today. When we talk about the proposed GRIN extensions, it starts with phase 1, which is the green, from Marlborough through Sandton. So Sandton will have a modified station, and then new stations are proposed at Randburg, Cosmos City, and Little Falls. Phase 2 is proposed then to connect from Little Falls through Rudderport to Soweto, Jabulani to be specific. Phase 3 would be the extension from Samrand through Irene to Tshwane East. Would come back to Cosmos City and connect from Cosmos City to Sunning Hill with new stations at Fourways and Sunning Hill, as well as an extension from Rosefield to East Rand Mall. What you don't see there is, you may have read in the news that EXA is building a new terminal at Ortia. So part of what they've asked us to relook now at is another station, but that's for another discussion. And then the final phase, as proposed, is phase 5, which will connect from Cosmos City to Lanseria with a new station at Credo and Lanseria Airport, as well as then the Tshwane East through Hazeldean to Mamelodi, East Rand Mall to Boksburg. So those are the proposed extensions in terms of the rapid rail network. And that's what, as I mentioned, feasibility study, National Treasury is undergoing reviews and approval processes there. So moving on then to the business of the day, the process of defining the rail reserve. So the first step in this process is governed by Section 6 of the GTIA. It determines a 400-meter wide land corridor in which the future rail reserve will be designed, constructed, operated. It enables the MEC to have rights to comment on any land use changes. So that is very important, because when one submits or a property owner submits a land use change at the local authority or municipality, the municipality still is the one that approves or rejects. But what this act enables, it just provides, it gives the MEC an opportunity to comment. And that comment basically is to say, we have received the application to the local authority. The possible impact on the determined route is ABC. But the MEC cannot reject or approve. So that power still vests with the local authority. The next part is that it prevents land speculation. I cannot begin to tell you what has happened since it was announced that the project was going ahead, where people are speculating